The fear of the Lord is beginning of the wisdom. Good understanding comes to those who listen. It's time to rise up in the world. It's time to rise up in the world.
Hi, my name is Alonzo. For those of you who are new to our channel, this is your NAP session, which is your news around Panama, where we cover a series of articles and the latest happenings of what's going on here in Panama. There's a lot of big news that have been breaking over the last month or so, with elections, Panama Canal, a lot of other things going on, big stories. So make sure you stick around for that. But we also want to encourage you all to check out our website, which is PanamaRelocationOnlineCourses.com for information on our online course and also on our expat community. We want to invite you all to join our Chosen Few expat community. You can scan the QR code that is on your screen or click on the link in the description down below. In there, we do have a lot of pre-released and exclusive content. We have more articles that we don't have time to cover in these NAP session videos. We have a lot of other products, featured products there, a lot of other good information there for you, for those of you who are planning to move to Panama. We also want to encourage you all to enroll in our Panama Relocation online course. You can scan the QR code that is on your screen or click the link that is in the description down below. That is going to take you to a page where you get in your email address, and then it takes you to a sales page. There you can look at a video where I cover the course outline. So you can watch that video and make a decision on whether or not you would like to purchase the course. But it's over 50 instructional videos detailing you step by step on how to complete this move to Panama smoothly and efficiently while avoiding costly mistakes. There we have our international relocation planning tool, which is going to help you manage your move like the very important project that it is. We also have a series of checklists that begin as early as 2 years prior to your move, all the way up to and including a moving day checklist. So if you execute these items, it's going to help you to relieve your stress and anxiety that's associated with making this type of international move. And like I said, it is most definitely cost preventive because it's going to help you to avoid costly mistakes. So with that, we also want to encourage you all to book your video consultation. You can email us at chosenfewexpats@gmail.com if you have a long series of questions that you need to ask. If you just have, a question here and there, feel free to just email us. We'll get back to you. But if you really need some help and you have a series of questions that you need addressed, want to book a consultation, you can do that with us. Also, please do check out our Shopify store where you can get products like this shirt, this Panama shirt. We have this logo on some mugs, some mouse pads and things like that along with our logo. We have a lot of other shirts that have a lot of the city names on it, Boquete, Cologne, some of the Panamanian cities and destinations that you may like. So be sure to check out our Shopify store. And so with that, let's get into your NAP session. So the first article is dealing with a big story that we covered. It's probably several months ago, but it's big news here. So what has happened is that Kenneth Darlington has been sentenced to 48 years. And for those of you who don't know, this is a gentleman who killed two innocent protesters during the Panama protests. And we cover that in great detail in our video. You can click into that right here. If you want to look at the actual video of what happened, we have footage in there of what transpired and of the arrest if you want to check it out. But what has happened here, and we're going to share our screen with you, is that he has been convicted now of those crimes, and he has been sentenced to 48 years in prison. So here is a still photo of him pointing the gun at one of the victims there. But this occurred on June 11th. He was also convicted of illegal possession of a firearm back in 2023. So the deceased were Abdiel Diaz and Ivan Mendoza. Darlington is 77 years old. He shot at protesters who were keeping the Pan American Highway closed against the contract signed by the Panamanian state and the mining company. So basically that is what has happened here. This guy was a lawyer, a professor at the Florida State University, which they do have a branch here in Panama. And so justice has been served here on that. It was a terrible story, when it broke. Hearts were broken around here because it's not the type of thing that we see here in Panama very often, this type of violence. So the next article, which isn't exactly breaking news, but it may be to some of you, who don't keep up with this, but ex-Panamanian President Martinelli was sentenced to 10 years in prison. This was in last year. We'll share our screen and show you this article. Even though this isn't like late breaking news, it's kind of leading into everything else that's going on right now with the election. So here is the article where it says he was sentenced to 10 years for money laundering. And he's 71 years old, Ricardo Martinelli. He was president from 2009 to 2014. Panama experienced a big economic boom, during his term as president. However, he purchased a media company with that saying that his lawyers argue that he purchased it with his own legally obtained funds. However, he was sentenced for using government money to do that. It says prosecutors said companies that had won lucrative government contracts during Martinelli's presidency funneled money to a front company that was then used to publish, the company that he purchased. Transactions involved a complex series of foreign money transfers totaling $43 million. The front company collecting money was called New Business. So, this again was in July of 2023 when Martinelli was sentenced. He had been planning before this to run for president in this year's election, which was May the 5th. Now, after this conviction, Martinelli asked for and was granted asylum by Nicaragua. So let's check out that information on what transpired there. So Panama obviously is very upset about this. Then Nicaragua granted him asylum. Panama demands Nicaragua rein in former President Ricardo Martinelli. Panama accused Nicaragua of meddling in its internal affairs by allowing former Panamanian President Ricardo Martinelli to continue to take swipes at the justice system and promoting his political allies from within the walls of the Nicaraguan embassy. Martinelli has been holed up in the embassy for more than a month. Now, this was back in March, this article, so he was been there since February. So he's now been there for about 5 months. So he's been holed up in the embassy since Panama moved to arrest him, and his appeals ran out on the money laundering conviction. So he's been basically inside of the embassy, more or less, trying to still run things from there. He was still planning on running for president, even though he was convicted. However, Panama bans Martinelli from running in the election. So the Electoral Tribunal decided to not allow him to run in the election. So let's take a look at that article. There was a lot of controversy surrounding this. They took his name off the ballot. They basically said that any and all advertisements concerning him had to be taken down. But what happened is that Jose Raul Molino, who was Martinelli's running mate, was allowed to run in his place, more or less. He was allowed to run for president. And that happened like 3 days before the election. So this is Martinelli's running mate. Martinelli is banned from running. Jose Raul Molino stands in. Basically, it says, I'm no longer a vice presidential candidate. I'm a presidential candidate. He stepped in and won the election. So here's the new president. He said after his victory, he vowed that he was no one's puppet. And that is really a concern, that a lot of the people have with this result. Some people, were really excited about Martinelli running because Panama experienced an economic boom during his watch, during his term. And then you have others, who are obviously not happy with the conviction and the, the accusations of corruption that led up to it. But, so it's created a lot of, mixed emotions here concerning that result. But basically, that's what has transpired. Martinelli is still in the Nicaraguan embassy. And Molino is going to be inaugurated here very shortly on July 1st. So that is pretty much that story. So, the U.S. is not the only country that has some issues in this arena. I know it's going to sound familiar to a lot of people, these kinds of goings on, but this story is even more wild than the stuff that's going on politically in the U.S. right now. So we'll have to see how it all shakes out. We'll report on that in the future for you all. So next story is the Panama Canal eases their drought restrictions. So you may recall it's been a big story over the past year. We did experience a big drought here in Panama, where the water levels in Gatun Lake decreased to the point where the Panama Canal Authority reduced traffic through the canal. It was a maximum of 39 ships per day. Normally, that was reduced all the way down to 22 ships. And not only they reduced the number of ships, but they reduced the draft level of those ships. And the draft, if you don't know, is the distance basically from the surface of the water to the bottom of the boat underneath the water. So they just raised that up to 45 feet. Before that, it was as much, I believe, as 50 feet. So what this meant is that, during this time of this drought, not only were there fewer ships coming through, but the ships that were coming through had to carry less cargo so that they would not sink as far into, underneath the water. So there were restrictions that they had on that. And here is the article. Panama Canal to ease traffic restrictions. So a lot of the information we just talked through here. Won't go into this in detail, but we do have a video here that we can share with you that outlines what has transpired here. So we'll show you that. It's very, very short, talking about maybe 45 seconds or so. So let's check that out.
Ya para finales del año fiscal del Canal de Panamá, finales de septiembre que termina el año fiscal e inicio del próximo año fiscal para el Canal de Panamá, que a partir de octubre deberíamos nosotros ya estar cerca de los 36 tránsitos diarios, siempre y cuando la industria marítima reaccione.
Okay, so there you go. So things are looking up regarding the situation with the canal. So, you had all of these, people going crazy like, oh, it's the death of the Panama Canal and all of this. And, these types of things are cyclical. There was a drought back in 2019. It wasn't as bad as this one. But, these things kind of come and go. So, the death of the Panama Canal is greatly exaggerated, is what you can take from this story. And so the next story, which is a sad one, is that the Kuna Yala have been relocated due to rising seas. And so for those of you who don't know, Kuna Yala are one of the indigenous tribes of Panama. They reside in what are now called the Sandblast Islands, but would correctly be called Kuna Yala. That is a archipelago of 365 islands, beautiful white sand beaches on those islands. About 60 of those islands are inhabited, and these are the first set of people who've been forced to relocate due to the rising seas around them. These islands are really only 1 or 2 feet above sea level. So what they've been experiencing here lately with the rising waters is that they're getting basically like flooding into their homes. And this particular island is called Gardi Sugdub. About 300 families are packing in the process of moving to an area that the government has built for them, homes. Actually nice homes. It's a nice community that they're going to be moving into. So of the 350 islands, only about 50 of them are populated. So this particular island is only about 400 yards long and 150 miles wide. So, I have a lot of mixed emotions concerning this. It looks like the government in total is going to have to spend about $1.2 billion to move, when it's all said and done, to basically move all of the communities that are going to be eventually affected by this. So you see that here. Panama estimates it will cost about $1.2 billion to relocate the 38,000 or so inhabitants who will face rising sea levels in the short and medium term. So we also do have a video we want to share with you on this story that's going to show you more about the area that the government built for the people and how they're reacting to the move. It's kind of mixed emotions. They're used to having their own community. And, some people say, hey, we need to relocate because the conditions are bad. And other people are just kind of sad about it because that's where they've been, for generations. So let's check out this video here.
There's no electricity in this house yet, but Miguel Salazar and his grandmother Etilvia are happy to be moving into their new home.
This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. We will be safer here and we will no longer have water up to our ankles.
Until recently, the Salazars were living on this island in the Caribbean, along with 300 other families from the Kuna tribe. But with sea levels rising, floods became common and there was less land for people to live on, so the community asked to be relocated. With the help of Panama's government, they have moved to this new village on the mainland that was built with public funds in a span of 5 years. It's called Kuna Yala, which means land of the medlar tree.
It was very crowded on the island, and it was noisy because there were so many people close together. Here there's more space between everyone. It's more peaceful.
The Kuna aren't the only people who will be relocating in the coming decades.
According to the Global Platform on Disaster Displacement, more than 400 communities around the world face relocation due to weather hazards like floods or rising sea levels. Governments around the world must now deal with the question of how to help these communities.
In Panama, officials have identified 62 villages that need to be moved due to rising sea levels. Government studies estimate that the Central American nation could lose up to 2% of its territory to the sea by 2050.
Panama will need around $1 billion to relocate vulnerable people. We need to come up with a precise budget and apply for resources from the Damage Fund that was created at last year's United Nations Climate Conference.
When the Kuna planned their new village, they made a special effort to keep their traditions alive. There's a school where children will be taught in the Kuna language, and a ceremonial house made from traditional materials.
Here we will welcome visitors, pray to God, and stage our cultural events. It is the heart of our community.
But other questions remain, like whether villagers will have public transport, and if they'll be able to make a living from fishing and tourism as they used to in their old home. The community is trying to navigate those challenges as they enter a new chapter of Kuna history. Manuel Rueda, TRT World, Kuna Yala.
All right, so there is the story on that. So, it's good that the government, was able to build folks new homes and that they were able to move. But like I said, it is mixed emotions concerning it. I'm sure you all can understand that. But that is pretty much all of the news that we have here for your nap session. So please do like, subscribe, and comment down below. Check out our website, PanamaRelocationOnlineCourses.com. Should you want information on our online course, be sure to join our community as well. And we will catch you all on the next one.